Welcome to Biff's Mystery Theater. I have many tales to tell you. Ghost stories, murder stories, and tales that will make your bones chill. Join me, won't you? For Theater of the Mind, where you always have the best seat in the house. Now close your eyes and turn off the lights.
In Chugwater, Wyoming Territory, there is a way station for the Cheyenne and Black Hills stage line. Because of a rainstorm, I witnessed a tragedy there.
Frontier Gentleman. Herewith an Englishman's account of life and death in the West. As a reporter for the London Times, he writes his colorful and unusual stories. But as a man with a gun, he lives and becomes a part of violent years in the new territories. Now, starring John Daner, this is the story of J.B. Kendall, Frontier Gentleman.
I was on my way to Chugwater. Jack Chase, editor of the Cheyenne Daily Press, had suggested that if I wanted an accurate picture of life in Wyoming Territory, Hyena Bob Saunders was the man to see. He ran the Cheyenne and Black Hills stage line station in Chugwater. In the coach with me were three other passengers. One, a gray-haired, quiet man who introduced himself as Boone Thompson. The others, Duncan Webster and his wife, Rose. Webster, a dark-faced, handsome chap of about 40, was unaccountably nervous. His wife, composed, in her middle 30s, a strong face, not unattractive. Our driver, Bill Cuttle, had expected us to arrive at our destination in the late afternoon, but a bad storm delayed us so that it was dark before we pulled into the Chugwater station.
Howdy, folks. See, you got a mite wet, lady. Warm yourself over to the fire. My name's Hyena Bob, folks. Now, you just all sit down, and I'll get hot coffee and victuals.
Mr. Saunders?
Oh, no, not Saunders, partner. Ain't nobody never called me Mr. Saunders except my wife. And the yeller grass has been waving over her nigh on these 15 years. Oh, the name's Hyena Bob. What can I do for you? Come on over while I set the coffee on.
I'm J.B. Kendall.
Well, I'm proud to know you.
Jack Chase mentioned your name.
Chase?
Yes.
That little feller looks like a rooster stepping high in the mud. Newspaper feller Chase? Cheyenne Chase?
Yes, that's the one.
Why, I ain't seen him in 2 years or better. How is he?
Oh, it's fine.
Nice feller, that. You know, he done me a right smart favor once. You a friend of his'n?
No, not a close friend, no.
He
but
still got that newspaper of his'n?
Yes?
Oh, here, you stir that, will you? I'll get the mug
Yes,
down.
certainly.
You, on your way up to Deadwood, mister?
No. As a matter of fact, I came here to see you.
Do you say?
I'm writing a series of stories on the West for my paper in England.
Do you say? Newspaper fellow yourself, huh?
Yes, Jack Chase thought you'd be the most likely person for me to talk to in Wyoming.
Ah, don't see what call he had to say that. Of course, I ain't saying I ain't got a story or two.
Well, that's what I'm hoping.
Hey, Cuddle, how goes it, huh?
Hey, you old grizzle-heel. You call up this blue whistler? I ain't seen so much rain since the big one in 74.
You're going to see more before this one blows over. Southbound pulled out a couple hours back. Ruth Hockaday says you can't get through the gap anymore tonight. She's flooding all over.
Well, I better get them animals fed then.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
Well, folks, we ain't got the most comfortable shakedown here, but it'll be better than bedding out tonight. Oh, you want to get the coffee? I'll spoon out the grub. Take her over to the table by the fire.
Right?
I don't mind the rain. It's snow and cold. That's what I don't like. It comes from the east. Of course, we get it cold back there, but not like this country.
Kendall, the old man say how long we'll be here?
Well, I got an idea it'll be the night at least.
Well, I ain't staying the night.
Well, now, don't get riled up,
I ain't
John.
riled. I'm saying I ain't staying the night, that's all.
Well, if you ain't, mister, you'll be enjoying mighty poor health outside.
Listen, old man, I paid for my tip.
Seeing as how you come in on the stage, I figured.
A little rain ain't gonna hurt. We figure on making Deadwood.
Oh, it doesn't
I haven't-
matter, Doc.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? To you? Maybe it doesn't matter to you.
From what I understand, the trail is blocked anyway, Mr. Webster. Flooded. We'll have to wait.
Not me. How about horses? You want to sell a couple of horses, old man?
You call me old man again, Sonny, and I'm going to jump down your throat and gallop your insides out. The name's Hyena Bob. No, I don't want to sell no horses. There ain't no horses to sell. Who you thinking?
It'll only be until morning.
Sure, it's not so bad.
Now, you eat something, Dunk. You'll feel
I
better.
don't want anything to eat. Now, leave me be, Rose.
I apologize for him, gentlemen. He's not himself. There's been sickness.
Well, there's no offense to us, ma'am.
I'll take him a plate of food if you'll excuse me.
Yes, of course.
Well, there goes a woman. Kendall, did you ever see it to fail? Strong female like that has to follow her man around wiping his nose for him. Look at him, sulking in the corner like a whipped kid.
Well, here's your grub, boys. More where that comes
Oh, thank you.
That looks good.
Tastes good.
from. Stew's all, just stew. I tell you, just the smell of it makes me so hungry my belly thinks my throat's cut.
Do you mind my asking how you make it?
Well, I don't mind you asking, Kendall, but I'd mind my telling. It's a secret stew. My old woman made it for me, and her ma taught it to her. And I had to swear I'd never tell how they done it. And I ain't broke my word yet.
It was wonderful. Wonderful.
Hey, what's ailing him, the feller or the woman?
Mr. Webster? Oh, I think he's just in a hurry to get to Deadwood, that's all.
That's the trouble these days. Everybody in too much of an all-fired hurry. What kind of business you in, mister?
Thompson, Boone Thompson's name. Farm machinery.
Well, bust me to flinderjigs, a hay slayer.
Yeah.
Well, ain't no plow chasers in these parts, mister.
Oh, there will be, Bob. I'm out here from the factory to get things started.
What kind of machinery, Mr. Thompson?
Oh, plows, harrows, seeders, binders, threshing machines, and only the best. Our factory's back in Illinois. Bob, it's all cattle out here in your territory, but there's too many. The range won't feed them. You'll have to grow fodder. You'll need my machinery to do it.
That's again nature and can't be did. Bringing nesters in. I hope I ain't overspoke myself with you, Thompson, but them's my feelings.
No, that's all right. You're not the first.
Woman, don't tell me nothing. I say what's right and what's wrong for me, and that's the way it is.
All right, Uncle.
Now, go on. Just do like I tell you, will you?
Oh, man never talked to me like that before I got through. His face looked like a dimer of the dog meat, I'm telling you.
Feel sorry for her. I really do, for a fact.
She's coming over.
And now I got to tell you about the time I hauled a load of pussycats from Cheyenne to Deadwood. Yes, sir, that was something like... Can I get you some more grub, ma'am?
No, thank you very much. I was wondering, would you happen to have any whiskey?
Whiskey?
I'd be happy to buy it from you. You see, my husband isn't feeling good, and I...
Sure. Well, sure, ma'am. I got a bottle somewhere. I'll bring it over.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. Oh, that woman sure is cluttered with trouble. Well, all right, you boys go on with your grub. I'll be right back.
That don't seem right. Making his wife ask for liquor for him. I think a man would do his own asking.
Well, there might be reasons.
But none good, I'd say.
Oh,
Close that door. Ooh-wee. Oh, she's a fence lifter out there. Hey, Bob.
Who's that, Cuddle?
Yeah, that's who. How's about a dish of that hyena stew of yourn?
Sure.
Boy, that tapeworm of mine is sure a hollering for fodder.
Anybody else want a tug of this? She's real coffin varnish. I never touched the stuff myself. Kendall, you comfortable?
No, thank you very much.
All right. Here you are, mister.
Thanks so much.
Oh, it don't cost. Take a friendly drink.
I want the bottle.
Ain't got enough for that, mister. Before this night's done and past, we all might need some.
I'll give you $5.
Well, you want to give me $5, I'm obliged, but I ain't giving you no bottle. You want a heist one, go ahead.
All right, $10 in it. Ain't worth no more than $1, and you know it.
Don't please.
Now, Rose, shut up, you hear?
Mister, I don't like much I see about you ever since you come in here, and I'm liking it a lot less as we go.
I ain't asking your personal opinion, old man. I'm just trying to buy your whiskey.
Oh, mister, your tongue is just a blossoming for the grave.
Gentlemen, I think we'll all be the better for a drink.
What you think don't matter, Kendall. Go sit down.
Oh, come on, Mr. Webster. We don't want any trouble.
Mr. Kendall's right, Duncan. Have a drink and you'll feel better. Give him one. Please.
She looked at us, her face agonized, pleading. It was Hyena Bob who poured the tin mug full of whiskey. And as Webster reached for it, I saw the black snout of a derringer protruding from under his sleeve.
In a moment, we return to Frontier Gentlemen. A search for a missing woman triggers the tense drama you'll hear on CBS Radio's Gunsmoke later today. For all-out Western excitement, join us on most of these same stations today when Marshal Dillon helps a young man in search of his wife on the next thrilling episode of Gunsmoke. And now we return you to the Anthony Ellis production of Frontier Gentlemen.
Duncan Webster drank his whiskey. I noticed his hand shaking as he put down the empty mug. Now his manner changed completely. He became quieter, apologetic.
I'm sorry. Sorry the way I was. It's just...
Ain't been feeling good.
Yes, that's the truth of it.
No counting how a man can feel. Sometimes it comes over me myself when I get full of wrath and cabbage. Well, I'll go clean up them supper things.
Oh, let me help you.
Why, ma'am, I take that as a real kindness.
All right, Doc?
Why, sure. Sure, you go along, Rose.
Sure has been a while since I had woman folk to help me with the chores.
Well, sit down. Sit down, Mr. Kendall. You want a drink?
Short one. Ooh, fine.
Well, I guess the old man won't mind if I join you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Good luck. Oh, man, I sure do hate the sound of that howling wind.
I know what you mean.
Do you? Well, how about some cards? Thompson?
Yeah?
What's the driver's name?
Cuddle.
Oh, Cuddle. How about some cards, you two?
Oh, yeah, sure, I'll play.
Something I promised the wife I wouldn't do when I came out west. First, I promised her a lot of things. I guess what she don't know isn't going to hurt her.
Yeah? Here. Have a drink, boys.
After a few minutes, Hyena Bob joined us, and we played for about 2 hours. Mrs. Webster sat by the fire, watching her husband with worried eyes. The bottle of whiskey disappeared, most of it down Webster's throat. Beyond a slight raising in his voice, though, it didn't seem to have much effect on him. I couldn't be sure whether Thompson and Cuttle had noticed the hidden derringer. If they did, they made no sign. It was Thompson who started to talk about the snow.
You know, playing cards like this reminds me of when I was up in Montana a few months ago. Oh, talk about cold. 40 below.
It gets that way.
I don't know how a man can live.
Come on, let's play cards.
Yeah, in a minute. Kendall, you ever been in that kind of cold?
I don't think I'd want to either.
Oh, no. Like if you take a deep breath, everything in your lungs is freezing. Really, I saw what it did to a man once. And I hope I never see it
Any
again.
more whiskey?
Well, I ain't no hog, mister, but I think you got enough of that thunder and lightning in you to last a spell.
Hey, you talk about weather. Why, I've seen cattle froze up against drift fences. Hundreds of them. Standing like statues.
Cuttle?
Weren't even 40 below.
Cuttle, it's your deal, isn't it?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Kendall, you ever been lost
Deal 'em,
in
huh?
the snow?
No,
I was.
haven't.
I was. Only a few minutes, but I tell you, I was plenty scared. It was a blizzard, regular blizzard. Couldn't see your hand in
Cuttle,
front of
there's
your
no
face.
call to shuffle
And you
the
know
spots
there's
off 'em.
no
Just deal 'em, huh?
feeling as lonesome.
I know. I was lost once in a fog. It's as though you're the last man in the world.
What are you doing?
There's no...
Hey, you're playing cards. You're talking about snow and cold. Why don't you shut up? Who cares about freezing? Who cares about snow? I ain't hearing you. I ain't listening.
Don't go out, Duncan.
Oh, what's he want to go out there and get himself soaked down for?
I've got to go with him.
No, Mrs. Webster, maybe he's better off alone.
Sure, cool him off. It's that tarantula juice. Why, ma'am, you ought to have been proud of him holding it the way he does. I seen a man take 2 drinks of that stuff, and he was reeling around like a blind pup trying to find out where his mama's at.
Well, me for some shut-eye, I guess. Yeah. You still got that mangy hound of yours sleeping on the bunks, hyena?
He won't mind your fleas, Cuttle.
Well, I'm kind of particular who I breed my fleas with. Good night, ma'am.
Good night, Cuttle.
Oh, hyena, you got a place for passengers to get some sleep?
Oh, sure. Just follow Cuttle, Mr. Thompson.
All right.
Ladies' quarters is on the other side of the hanging blanket, ma'am. We don't usually figure to have folks putting over at this stop.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, Mr.
Good night.
Thompson. I'll go out and see your husband ain't drowned yet, ma'am.
When he gets like this, I never cross him. Just gentle him along. He's sick.
Oh, I'll do the same.
Bob.
Oh, yeah?
Bob.
Huh?
He's got a derringer in his sleeve.
I know. I eyeballed it. I ain't worried.
Maybe you'd better try and get some sleep, Mrs. Webster. We'll see your husband doesn't drink anymore.
I sometimes think he's better off with the drink.
You say he's sick?
Oh, it ain't nothing for doctor's cure. He wasn't always like that. Not a dark man when he was first married. It's a thing that happened to him once, and he won't talk about it. I guess maybe you can call it some kind of sickness.
Is your home in the territory?
Oh, it's been no one place for the past 3 years. Duncan's been a traveling man, one job after another. He don't hold 'em long.
What does he do?
Oh, a bit of everything. He's good at most all he tries his hand at, except mining. Now, that's one thing that he just...
Now, what are you doing, mister? You trying to make love to my wife?
Make love to...
Duncan, there's no call to think such
Oh,
a
ain't
thing.
there? I seen him giving you the eye on the stage on the way out here.
That's
No.
enough, Webster.
Aren't you man enough to find your own woman?
Now go to bed. You'll feel better in the morning.
Mister, don't you go telling me what
Oh,
to do, you
stop
hear?
it! Stop it! Haven't you done enough?
Enough what? What, Rose?
Tonight, everything.
No, come on. You were going to say something else. Now finish up. Enough what?
Let her alone, Webster.
You feed off your own range, Kendall. I'm talking with my wife. What were you going to say, Rose?
No. You don't want to hurt her, Webster.
Look, I told you, mister.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Webster.
You had to.
Hey. Oh. Is he dead?
No. No, I hit him.
I knew that feller's tongue was long enough to cut his own throat. Better get the derringer off him. Sorry, ma'am, but I'm afraid your husband ain't got sense enough to be carrying a weapon mean as that up his sleeve.
Let's put him on the bench.
Yeah.
Use my jacket for a pillow, will you, Mrs. Webster?
Yes.
You know, I never did trust a man with a hit gun like that. Begging your pardon, ma'am.
Yes, why does he carry it, Mrs. Webster?
He's afraid.
Why, he wanted? The law after him?
Oh, no. No, he's just afraid of something. I don't know what it is. And he won't tell me. He just keeps it inside. It makes him like this.
I don't know. What do you figure, Kendall?
I don't.
What's the matter?
Webster had an argument. He lost, is all.
What, he tried to draw on you, Kendall?
No. He's just drunk, Mr. Thompson.
Hey, don't either of you say anything. I've been waiting for this chance for a long time. Duncan, why did you do it?
What's he talking about?
I don't know.
Why? Why did you kill them, Duncan?
Cold.
Cold, yes.
Cold and alone.
You were alone, yes, and what happened?
I had to.
You had to what?
Hey,
Hold
you
it
let
now.
go of me.
Hey,
Let go of me!
help me!
Let go!
All right, that's better, West.
You told them.
No, I didn't. I don't know what it is, Duncan. I don't know.
What is it, Thompson?
I'm a detective. Some people back in Kansas hired me. Folks of a young fellow died up in the Rockies. I've been working for him about 2 years now. Following this fellow, waiting for proof.
And what did he do, then?
You want to tell him,
I
Webster?
got nothing to tell.
He went up with 4 other boys hunting gold. The story he told when he came back was they got lost, separated from each other.
Well, that's true. It's true that's how it was.
Your wife is right here, Webster. You want me to say the rest?
Let go. Let
You
go.
want me to say it?
Don't listen. Get out. Don't listen to him. He's lying, Rose. Get out.
What did he do, Mr. Thompson?
No, please. Don't say, Mr. Thompson. I'll admit, I'll tell. I killed him. I did. I never said, Rose. I couldn't tell you. It's been with me all the time. I killed him. But it was for the gold. The gold, that's why.
But you told me you were alone.
I was lying. We got lost up there, wandering around, and by accident, we found the claim. I shot him to keep the claim for myself.
What did you do with their bodies?
I threw them in a ravine. That's the way it happened. That's the way, Thompson.
Yeah. All right, Webster. That's the way it could have happened.
Why didn't you tell me, Dunk?
I couldn't tell you, Rose. I'm sorry. Sorry, Rosie. I just couldn't help it. We were lost. In the cold, I didn't know what I was doing, Rose. I dream every night. I dream it so bad I want to die.
Maybe you'll be better off when you do, Webster.
The next morning, the storm had passed. Thompson took his prisoner and Mrs. Duncan and started for Deadwood on a long trip back to Kansas. Hyena Bob and I watched the stage disappear down the road. When it was out of sight, he said,
I tell you, Kendall, life is short and full of blisters.
Frontier Gentlemen was written, produced, and directed by Anthony Ellis and stars John Daner as J.B. Kendall. Featured in the cast were Joseph Kearns, Stacey Harris, Vivi Janis, Lawrence Dobkin, and William Lally. Music was composed and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Join us again next week for another report from the Frontier Gentleman. John Wald speaking. This is the CBS Radio Network.
I learned two things in Cheyenne. One, that Hucky Dummy is baking powder bread with raisins. The other, that love's labor is not always lost, even if you don't know how to use a gun.
Frontier Gentleman. Herewith an Englishman's account of life and death in the West. As a reporter for the London Times, he writes his colorful and unusual stories. But as a man with a gun, he lives and becomes a part of the violent years in the new territories. Now, starring John Daner, this is the story of J.B. Kendall, Frontier Gentleman.
I had spent a week in Chugwater with Hyena Bob Saunders, who ran the Cheyenne and Black Hills stage station. Now, I was on my way back to Cheyenne to send off to the London Times one or two of the more choice stories he had told me. There was only one other passenger in the stage with me, a man in his middle 20s. He introduced himself as Tom Hart. He was well-dressed, and at first glance I took him to be an Easterner.
No, I was born in Kansas. Reared in Montana Territory. Now I call Wyoming my home. How about you?
Born in England. I'm trying to make a living writing articles on the West for the London Times.
Oh, you been in Cheyenne yet?
Oh, yes.
How are things?
Well, that's hard to say. I haven't seen too much of it.
3 years since I was there. I guess the town's changed some. But this road sure hasn't.
Well, Cheyenne's thriving, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I've heard. Big cattle interest.
I gather you're coming back from the east.
These fancy dude clothes, huh? Yeah, I've been in the east and other parts. Man gets tired of drifting, though. Comes time to go home, that's where I'm headed.
Cheyenne?
Yeah. I made me some good money. Now I figure to get married, raise a flock of kids.
That's a worthwhile project.
There's a girl in Cheyenne, Kendall. We've been writing. Leastways up to a year back, I got a letter from her when I was in New York.
I wish you luck.
Thanks. You married?
No.
Well, they say it ties a man down, but I figure if a gal's got her mind made up for marriage, might as well drop your rope on her, because if you don't, somebody else is going to.
I see you have the philosopher's attitude toward marriage.
Well, I don't know about that, but I've been lone wolfing long enough. Carrie's her name. Carrie Hudson. Used to be a cookie pusher up at the Blue Star Cafe.
A cookie pusher?
A waitress.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, when we get in town, you come on up with me to the Blue Star. Used to have the best eats in town. I guess they still do. I'll be proud to have you meet Carrie.
We spent the rest of the journey discussing matters of both consequence and triviality. Hart had received no formal education, but his travels had given him a certain sophistication, and the time passed pleasantly. When we arrived in Cheyenne, I tried to persuade him that his fiancée would be much happier to greet him alone, but Hart would have none of it. He insisted that I accompany him, and so together we walked to where he knew the Blue Star Cafe to be.
Charlie Bannister runs the place. Charlie looks like bad medicine. There's some says he used to be a short trigger man, but it ain't true. Why, the way he looked after Carrie, you'd think she was his own daughter. I sure had to play it straight before Charlie'd let me start riding herd on the gal. Say, listen, you hungry?
A little?
Well, you wait till you taste Charlie's Hucky Dummy. He used to be a range cook, and there's never been a man made Hucky Dummy the way Charlie makes it. Hey, that's funny.
Huh. Looks as though it's closed.
No, it does for a fact. First time I ever knew the Blue Star closed. You see anybody moving around in there?
No.
What? She's open. Hello, Charlie?
Whoever you are, come on in back.
Sure don't figure. Hey, Charlie, you'll...
What do you say, Tom?
Charlie, this is a fella I met on the stage coming in. J.B. Kendall.
How are you?
Hello, Charlie.
What's happened? How'd you get like this?
I guess you ain't heard. There was a shoot-up in here a year or so ago.
Carrie. Is Carrie all right?
When it was finished, the boys had done the shooting, robbed me, and hightailed it out. I ain't moved from the bed since, Tom.
What about Carrie?
She ain't here no more.
Well, where'd she go?
Ask Jack Feeney up to Holloman Saloon.
I'm asking you, Charlie.
And I ain't saying. You and me was friends, Tom. I just leave keep it that way.
Now, what's Jack Feeney got to do with it? What, Charlie?
All right, I'll tell you. Carrie took a shine to him while you was gone.
That's a lie.
I told Feeney to leave her alone. There was words. I threw him out. Same night he comes back with one of his boys, and they fill me full of lead.
Well, wasn't this Feeney arrested then, Charlie?
Sure, but it was his word against mine. Then Carrie took his side and swore at the trial it was someone else had come in and shot me up.
Is she with Feeney now?
I ain't seen her since that day. Hey, Tom, boy, while you're here, pump me a jug of water, will you? Old Doc Thorne says I got to drink plenty of water. And Mrs. Carroll's been helping out, but she ain't showed up yet today.
Yeah, sure. I'll be right back, Charlie.
Thank you. I ain't got the stomach to tell him all the truth of it. You'll have to find out sooner or later for yourself. She married Feeney.
Oh? When?
Yeah. Right before the trial. Guess it was partly my fault. I should have seen it. Carrie getting lonesome waiting for Tommy, and Feeney coming in here, his fancy spending ways. He runs the gambling in Holloman Saloon. Well, next thing you know, Carrie's looking cow eyes at him.
Well, don't you think it'd be better to tell Hart now about the marriage?
Say, listen, you keep an eye on him, will you? Tom's got a bad temper. He gets it in his head to start trouble, there's likely to be a killing.
All the more reason to tell him then. This way, he'll go up to the saloon looking for her.
Yeah. I guess you're right. It wouldn't be so good.
Here's your water, Charlie. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Yeah. Stay away from Holloman Saloon. I lied to you before, Tom. She's there with Feeney. They're married.
Anything else I can do for you, Charlie?
No, reckon not. Hey, come on back and see me if you have a mind to. I'd sure like to hear about your travels.
I'll do that. So long.
You take it easy, Tom.
Goodbye, Charlie.
You take it easy, Tom.
Well, I guess I'll be seeing you, Kendall.
Where will you go, Tom?
Not that it's any of your business, but I guess you ask out of kindness. I'm going up to Holloman's Saloon and have me a few drinks.
Oh, well, mind if I come along?
No, I don't mind.
We walked down the main street. I knew it was pointless to tell him that trying to see his girl was the worst thing he could do to himself. I rather liked him, and I suppose that's the reason I went with him. He didn't say a word until we reached the saloon. Then he said,
You go ahead, Kendall. I'll meet you in there in a few minutes. I got an errand to do first.
Well, I'll come with you. I don't mind.
I do. Just order me a bottle of whiskey. I'll see you inside.
All right.
Well, hello, stranger. You're a little early, but what's your pleasure? Cards? A dance?
As a matter of fact, I'm looking for Carrie.
Oh, for what?
Are you Carrie?
Yes.
Can we sit at the table?
I don't sit with customers, mister. That's for the girls. You want to talk business, you can talk to my husband.
A friend of yours is in Cheyenne. Tom Hart.
Tom,
He's just heard about you. He'll be coming in here in a minute. What you ought to know.
thanks, mister. How did he take the news?
He got it from Charlie. Well, he'll probably get very drunk. I imagine I'd do the same.
He won't make trouble.
I'll try to see that he doesn't.
Has he said anything about me?
Only that he was expecting to marry you.
Isn't right. I thought... Doesn't matter. Anybody got the price of a drink in his pocket's welcome. That goes for Tom Hart as well as the next man. You want a table, mister?
Yes, a table would be fine.
This way. What are you drinking?
Oh, beer, I think. Yes, and a bottle of whiskey.
My husband. Jack doesn't like him. I wouldn't want Tom to get hurt on account of me. Will you get him out of here if he's looking for someone to sharpen his horns on?
I'll do my best.
Thanks. Beer and a bottle of whiskey, mister.
Beer and a bottle of whiskey.
Well, where's the drinks?
On their way, Tom. What's the gun for, Tom?
She's right clean and shining, ain't she? Set me back $20.
Put it away.
I bought it, and I aim to use it. As soon as I get drunk enough, I'm going to kill me a skunk called Feeney.
In a moment, we return to Frontier Gentlemen. Fast with a quip, faster at making time with a beautiful girl, but fastest of all with a clue. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, will be along with his latest insurance investigation later today on CBS Radio. Get next to yours truly, Johnny Dollar, on most of these stations. Now, we return you to the Anthony Ellis production of Frontier Gentlemen.
Tom Hart and I sat at a table in Holloman's saloon, and between us lay a brand new .44 revolver. After a moment, Tom picked it up and slowly rotated the cylinder. He didn't turn as Carrie came toward us, didn't look up as she put down my beer and Tom's bottle of whiskey.
Yes, sir. It's a mighty pretty talking iron.
How are you, Tom?
Oh, Carrie. Yeah, I heard you was here. Well, you're looking good. You know, back east, they drink a toast to new married folks. So I drink to you, Carrie. Well, where's your husband, Mrs. Feeney?
Jack's out. Don't make trouble, Tom. What's done is done.
That's the way you see it, huh, Carrie?
You never wrote.
I didn't have to. You were my girl. I told you I'd be back, but you couldn't wait.
I waited 2 years.
You was in such a hurry you had to get Feeney to put Charlie out of the way, too.
That's not so, Tom.
Charlie, he's lying in bed. He don't move anything but his arms anymore. Your husband did a right fine job. You ain't even been to see him since.
That doesn't do much good, you know.
She's not the same anymore. At first I thought she was, but she's not. She was a girl. A nice girl when I left. She got too much paint now. Looks like a honky-tonk woman.
Finish your drink, we'll go.
There's time. There's plenty of time. I want to have a talk with Jack Feeney. He shot up a friend of mine, you remember? You want to leave, it's all right, Kendall. You go ahead.
I'll stay.
You want a whiskey to chase down the beer?
No, thank you.
Do you know why I'm going to get drunk?
I've got a rough idea.
Yeah? How rough?
Well, Tom, you know you really haven't got any right to start trouble with Feeney.
What about Charlie? What about him?
The court said Feeney was innocent.
Charlie says he did it.
And if you shoot Feeney, they'll find you guilty. What'll you prove?
She said she was going to wait. She said she loved me. Now, ain't that a laugh? Love.
That's why you're getting drunk. Then you'll be able to get angry without thinking.
You talk too much.
Well, you asked me.
Where'd she go?
Up the stairs.
Hey, you figure she was lying. Maybe Jack Feeney's here. She's going up to tell him.
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to find out.
No, I wouldn't. No, sit down, Tom.
Give me that gun, Kendall.
Now, you sit down. You're not that drunk yet, and you're not going up there to start shooting.
Give me the gun.
No.
You're bigger than me, but I ain't afraid to tangle with you.
I didn't say you were.
All right. I'm going up there without a gun.
Oh, don't be a fool. Tom.
Don't rile me, mister.
Tom, she's married to him. You'll find another girl.
Hey, where are you going? How come you're going up to me and my wife's rooms?
Figured to find you there, Feeney.
Well, Tom Hart.
That's right.
I stepped out for a while. If I'd known you was going to pay a visit, I'd have come back sooner. Have you seen my wife, Tom?
Yeah, I've seen her.
Well, we'll have to get her down and have a friendly drink together. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting your friend.
J.B. Kendall.
Put her there, Kendall. Carrie, come on down. Hey, Lester, bring a bottle of champagne.
I didn't come to drink with you, Feeney. I came to kill you.
Well, sure, you can do that anytime, but you'll have a drink first, huh? Here, sit down, boys. When'd you get back in town, Tom?
Today. And I seen Charlie.
Yeah? I heard about Charlie. It's too bad him getting shot like that.
The way Charlie tells it, you did the shooting.
Poor feller. They say it made him a mite loco.
Here's your champagne, Mr. Feeney.
And here comes the prettiest little woman in Cheyenne. Sit down, Carrie. I hear you've met Mr. Kendall here, and Tom.
Yes.
Well, it's like old times, except a thing or two has changed. I got me a new wife. What'd you get back east, Tom?
I'm telling you something, Feeney. I had a gun, which a friend of mine didn't figure I was drunk enough, or maybe sober enough to use. Well, I'm going out and get another one. And the next time I see you, I'm going to be using it.
He sure is excitable, ain't he? You figure he's still galling over you, Carrie?
What does it matter?
What do you think, Kendall?
I think that Tom Hart's in a mood for murder. Whether it's because of your wife, Charlie, I don't know.
Jack didn't shoot Charlie, Mr. Kendall. I know he didn't because we were together that night.
That's true. Must have been a couple of cowboys dropped into Charlie's place or robbed him, gave him lead poison, but it wasn't me.
Why does Charlie say it was?
That was at the trial. He said it then, too. Of course, my lawyer, he showed where it was dark in Charlie's cafe, and Charlie couldn't rightly tell who was in there that night. Charlie figured it was me because we'd had words the same day.
I think I better find Tom.
Now, don't you go worrying, Kendall. You cool down. Besides, Tommy ain't no kind of a hand with a gun, and he knows it. If he comes looking for me, we'll take care of him.
Which was exactly what I was afraid of. I spent the next hour going from one saloon to the next, looking for Tom. I couldn't find him. And so I went back to see the one person who I thought might be able to help.
No, he ain't come back here. Took it bad, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the trouble with that boy. Everything nice and easy with him. Never could figure what he was really thinking. But when he busted loose...
Charlie, are you still positive it was Feeney who shot you?
Sure am.
Well, Carrie says he was with her that night.
She's lying.
Why would she lie?
Well, don't ask me how come a woman does what she does.
I think the one reason that Tom's going after Feeney now is a matter of pride. He doesn't want to back down. He'll use you as an excuse.
I don't need any man to fight my war.
Do you think there's any chance, even a remote one, that it was dark that night you were shot and perhaps you were mistaken about Feeney?
Well, I guess there's a chance, but...
Charlie, if I can find Tom, if he knows that, if you'll tell... Shh.
Well, time. Carrie.
Is he here?
No.
I had to come. I don't want him to get hurt. I wanted to talk with him.
Ain't much for you to say, seems to me.
I made a mistake. I'm not making another. It was Jack shot you, Charlie. I lied for him. He said if I didn't, either he or his boys would get you for good. He said he'd kill me, too.
Then why'd you marry him?
I had to. That doesn't matter now. We've got to find Tom. Jack sent 2 of his boys out looking for him. He wants to kill Tom.
Why?
I guess he knows. He's always known how I feel.
And I'm going back to the saloon. You'd better stay here, Carrie.
Couldn't find him, huh?
No.
Well, he's probably sobered up by now. He'll be all right. Yeah, nice fella, Tom. Just a little too hot-headed for his own good, that's all.
Well, I imagine when a man comes home and finds his girl married to another man, it can be a little upsetting.
Sure.
And then seeing a good friend of his lying paralyzed, shot by the man who married his girl, likely to make a chap unreasonable.
Even though he's wrong, yeah, I see what you mean.
Then if he finds out that the girl's husband forced her to lie, and if he finds out that the girl still loves him, he'd be in quite a state.
Yeah, that wouldn't be so good, would it?
Now, if I were the husband, I'd want to get rid of that fellow. Say, a fellow like Tom, because my life wouldn't be safe for 1 minute. I'd send some men out looking for him with orders to shoot on sight.
You got any more ideas along that line?
Well, if a man like Tom had a friend, the friend wouldn't want to see Tom, bushwhacked, I think is the word.
That friend is talking himself into mighty trouble.
You think so? Then the friend would make another suggestion.
Yeah.
The husband is quite obviously a most unpleasant person. And the best thing he could do would be to give his wife a divorce so that she can live a decent life with Tom Hart.
I'm back, Feeney.
Yeah, I see you are, Tom.
Kendall, get away from him. I'm giving him a chance to draw, which is more than he did for Charlie.
You heard him, Kendall. It's a fair fight.
I heard. Tom, look out! Behind you!
Thank you, Kendall.
No, not at all. Those are 2 of Mr. Feeney's chums. They've been looking for you. Now, Feeney, you were saying something about a fair fight.
Now listen, Tom.
Draw.
I ain't fighting with you.
You ain't got the guts of a lizard. Draw.
I told you I ain't...
Dirty son of a gun!
I ain't fighting.
Well, I ain't.
Oh, my. Sounded as though you broke his jaw, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't it?
I think Mr. Feeney will be leaving town. I also think he'll want to give Carrie a divorce.
Oh?
I thought you might be interested. Incidentally, what would you have done if he had drawn on you?
I don't know. Never thought about it. He probably would have killed me.
Yes, I think he would. Well, I'll take care of the arrangements here. You better go over to Charlie's now. Carrie's waiting.
Waiting? For me?
Well, I don't imagine it's for me.
Frontier Gentlemen was written, produced, and directed by Anthony Ellis and stars John Daner as J.B. Kendall. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg, Jack Crucian, and Harry Bartell. Music was composed and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Join us again next week for another report from the Frontier Gentleman. John Wall speaking. This is the CBS Radio Network.
There's a saying in the West that a cowboy is a man with guts and a horse. This is the story of one. His name was Slim.
Frontier Gentleman. Herewith, an Englishman's account of life and death in the West. As a reporter for the London Times, he writes his colorful and unusual stories. But as a man with a gun, he lives and becomes a part of the violent years in the new territories. Now, starring John Daner, this is the story of J.B. Kendall, Frontier Gentleman.
Bought a horse in Cheyenne and was riding to Laramie in Wyoming Territory. I wanted a chance to really look at this grazing country and the thousands of head of cattle dotting its plains. I rode north of the railroad tracks until the telegraph poles lining it were lost in a dusty haze. And I saw clouds, heavy and bronze, over the distant mountains. It was during the afternoon that I came upon the cowboy, a lean man of about 30, with a cigarette hanging from his lips. He was examining the right foreleg of his horse, and he looked up as I approached. Hello.
Howdy.
You need any help?
That fool horse stepped in a gopher hole. Don't seem to be no spring, though.
Fine-looking animal.
He ain't a bad old buzzard head. Hey, you English?
Yes.
You a ranchman?
No, a newspaper correspondent.
Oh, thought maybe if you was a ranchman, you'd be looking for a hand.
I'm sorry.
You don't make no never mind. I'm chassaying over to Laramie. Figure I'll get me a job one of them new layouts I hear tells open up.
I'm bound for Laramie myself. You mind if I ride with you?
Well, I take it as real friendly. Quit it, you moon-eyed son of a gun. Hold still.
You think we'll have rain?
Don't feel like it. Of course, you can't tell with them clouds. I've been on the range, and there ain't been nothing but blue up there, and Wango, down she comes. Tail as big as your fist. I tell you, nature's a skittish beast. Ain't no how bridle-wise.
Oh, incidentally, my name is Kendall.
Slim, how are you?
Slim?
Been in these parts long?
Oh, a few weeks. I came down from Montana Territory by way of Deadwood.
That's so. Yeah, here, Wild Bill Hickok got plugged a while back in Deadwood.
Yes? I was there when it happened.
That's so. What happened to the feller that done it?
McCall?
Yeah, that was his name, Jack McCall.
He was tried. The jury found him not guilty.
That's so.
Did you know him?
No, just heard.
Oh.
What do you write about in your newspaper?
Well, I see people out here, their way of living.
Kind of different in England, huh?
Yes, it's quite different.
Ain't no plains, or mountains, or rivers. Ain't nothing back east or in England like we got here.
That's true.
Don't figure how come a man went to live back here.
Well, it's a different kind of country, a different kind of life. It's
Look.
What?
Didn't sound like no regular shooting. Oh, hold still, horse, I'll mash your sides in.
Seems to come from the hills.
Yeah. Reckon someone's in trouble. Let's go.
A range of hills, low-lying, somber, about a mile to our north. It was from that direction we heard the shots. Slim's horse easily outdistanced mine, and by the time I reached the first slopes, the cowboy had disappeared into a canyon.
Kendall, over here.
What's the matter with him?
Looks like he's been locking horns with some Indians. I was just riding up to him when I fell down. There's half an arrow in him. Broke off. Now, take it easy, pard. Kendall, you better take his rifle. Keep an eye out.
No shells in it.
Arapahoe's got it. Where?
Where? Where did they go?
Up the canyon trail. Wagon and horses. Clara.
Oh, that's too bad. Too bad. He ain't gonna have no breakfast again forever. That's for sure.
What about the woman? Clara.
I guess she's still alive, though maybe she'd rather not be. Indians keep captured white women around, sometimes for hostage, sometimes for other things.
Well, do you think we'd have a chance of catching up with them?
It might. Depends on how long a start they got and how many. I'd kind of like to bury him first. Ain't fitting for a man to lie out in the open after he's curled up.
But it'll take time. What about the woman?
It won't go no better or worse with her for the time. Oh, that ground's too hard for hand digging. We'd have to make a rock grave. Tell you what, though. You start on it. I'll work up the canyon a bit, see if I can find signs. Now, if you hear 3 shots, come a-running. I'll do the same for you.
Right.
Oh, wait. He may have some shells left for the Winchester. Yeah. Well, that's something. 8 of them. You better keep the rifle here. So long.
I began the task of burying the dead man. From letters and a homestead deed in his pockets, I found that his name was Theodore Belding. There was also a tintype of a young, rather pretty woman whom I gathered to be his wife, Clara. It took the better part of 45 minutes to complete the grave, and it wasn't until almost an hour later that Slim returned.
Well, I found the trail, followed it a way up. There was 4 Indians in the wagon. They cleared the wagon and left it burned. Took the horses, though, and the woman.
What are our chances?
Can you shoot?
I'm fair.
Well, I ain't done any trailing since 5 years back, but we ain't got nothing to lose. Be getting dark by and by. We'll keep going till light gives out.
Do you know this country, Slim?
Not much, but a man can read a lot of things from places he ain't been. Here. That's where they stopped the wagon, see?
Oh, you mean those double-wheel ruts?
Yeah. Must have ambushed him from over there. And the feller fell here. See the blood spots? Guess he made things hot for him for a spell.
Were you an Indian scout, Slim?
Yeah, for a while. Worked with Custer.
Oh? What did you think of him?
For him, I got a can of cuss words, and I best keep the lid on it. Yeah, we'll save our breath for breathing from here on. I want to be able to hear what there is to hear.
We went on up the canyon, Slim reading the ground, or, as he put it, following sign. For a mile or more, the trail was obvious, even to the most unpracticed eye, but after we passed the burned-out wagon, it became more difficult to follow. For another hour, we rode in silence. The sun was beginning to set. A cool breeze was sweeping down the canyon. Oh, now. Oh.
You hear that? Could mean Indians made a camp. Those crows ain't flying. Figure they're sitting in the trees waiting for a handout.
Unless they're feeding on carrion.
It wouldn't be corn if there were.
Sounds as if they're in those trees. See, just over the rise?
Don't seem smart enough for Indians to make a camp this early.
Or they know we're following and they're waiting for us.
Shut your mouth, you glandered, spavin coyote. Hoss smells them. Now, we better tie the critters up.
All right.
Pull down that injure rubberneck of yours. pale-faced, wall-eyed son of a gun. I'll skin you alive.
Do you think, Slim, that it might be an idea to work our way through the trees instead of along the canyon wall, huh?
I sure do. That old sun's right behind us. We make awful pretty targets. Keep in the shadows as much as you can. We'll just figure they got no weapons except in bow and arrow. That gives us a mighty advantage. You all set?
Yes.
Come on, then. And watch out for twigs and dry leaves. Walk soft.
Ahead of us, through the trees and shrubs, lay the brow of the rise. We made our way upward until we were within 10 yards of the top. That's when I saw a glint in the sunlight and a trickle of sand moving down the slope toward us.
Get down!
In a moment, we return to Frontier Gentlemen. Does that sound go with this music? Sure it does, when it's the sound of the shutters coming off the summer place in the woods, in the mountains, or at the shore. Only 5 more days from now, all America opens up the summer place as we swing into the 3-day Memorial Day weekend, the first great outdoor holiday of the year. But first, what does your summer place need? In the refrigerator, on the kitchen shelves, the bathroom shelves, round the grill. Check now. Make a list now. Buy at your grocer's, your druggist, your hardware store. Then you'll be all set for that great big 3-day weekend. And say, don't forget to have your portable radio checked and ready. Wherever you spend your happy holiday, there's a CBS radio network station to keep you posted on the weather and the news. And now we return you to the Anthony Ellis production of Frontier Gentlemen.
Phew. You got good eyes, Kendall. I sure could feel the sawdust in my beard that time. Where are they?
Well, one of them's between the boulders, a little to the right of the clump of alders. There, you can see the rifle sight.
Want to try a shot with a Winchester?
No, not yet. Only 8 shells. We better save them.
How many rounds you got for your gun?
About 20.
I got near the same. Say 50 rounds between guns and rifle. Not bad if it don't take too long. How many you figure we're shooting?
2, from the sound of it.
Sharp's repeaters, that's for sure. Well, we sure cut a big gut that time.
Seems to me the only thing to do now is to wait until it's dark. There's no other way to get at them without being seen.
I'm wondering what our chances are after dark. We ain't in the best position. Might be we ought to pull back down canyon, wait for morning before we pick up the trail.
And what about the woman?
Well, if she's still alive, she knows there's help around.
White man, come out from trees. We make medicine.
Here's the Indian couldn't drive nails in a snowbank.
He's trying to draw a fire. Locate us.
Well, let him.
You want to make medicine, Siwash? You come down here.
That came from the left, higher up. One of them must be in a tree.
I think I can see him.
Yeah, there's enough sticking out. No, gone now.
Not on this side.
Now there's one good Indian. Where'd you learn to shoot like that, mister?
Odd places.
What? I'm hit.
Where?
Oh, I'm hit in the arm. Oh, man, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Let me see now, Slim.
Oh. Well, it ain't the gun hand, anyhow. Can you bind it up?
Yes. I keep down now.
White man, you want white woman? We talk. Maybe you pay gold, get her back. Come down here. We'll talk.
How does it feel now, Slim?
Like a branding iron's inside.
There's not too much bleeding, though. That's something.
Sure wish we had more cover. I feel naked as a painted cat laying out
White
here.
man, we come down talk. You shoot, woman die.
What do you think?
We might have 'em buffaloed. Let 'em come. But watch 'em for tricks. They got 100.
Come down. We'll hold our fire.
Only one of 'em. Now, if he ain't a setting duck against that sky.
There's 2 more, though. They must be with the woman.
Yeah, maybe. Keep your eyes peeled.
White man has been wounded.
Indian has been killed?
We are many. You are 2.
Climb down, Siwash. There were 4 of you, now there's 3.
I am Little Knife, chief of the Arapaho.
You're Little Knife, a renegade dog who steals women.
Little Knife, not renegade. Fight with Crazy Horse. Little Knife not steal woman, take woman. Like white man take Little Knife land. Maybe kill white woman. Like white man kill Indian woman and child.
The war is over. There's no more killing on either side.
White man say war is finished. Not Indian.
Quit your coyoting around the rim, Indian. What about the woman?
You give me your guns, rifle, and gold. I give her to you.
I'll see you hung up to dry first.
Not our guns or rifles, but perhaps some gold. How much?
How much you got?
$100?
Not enough.
That's all there is.
All guns and $100.
No.
I go back. Maybe you hear a woman die, then you pay.
Maybe you don't go back, Siwash. What about that?
Like all white man, break word of truce.
You speak of honor and murder with the same breath?
We can kill you all. We wait for night, then we kill.
I got a finger it's itching right now to wait for nothing.
Little Knife not afraid to die.
Little Knife, you took the belongings in the white man's wagon. Return the woman, and we let you keep it all. That and $100 in gold.
You'll let Little Knife keep what he already has. Not a trade.
Listen, you double-distilled son of a gun. I seen a fair-sized anthill down the canyon away. How'd you like to be staked out?
I make good offer. Woman for guns and $100. You say no, I go back now. Soon as the night, then we take your guns and the gold.
The Indian turned and moved back up the slope. For a moment, I had an uncontrollable desire to shoot. Then I thought of the woman, of what would happen to her. I lowered the rifle. We shifted our positions a few yards to the right, and we lay there, waiting. And the darkness settled into the canyon.
Funny thing.
What?
We ain't heard no sound from the woman.
Yeah, I was thinking of that myself.
Wonder if she's all right. Well, should be better than 3/4 moon tonight. Coming up in a while. They gonna try something. It'll be afore the moon.
Slim, I think we'd better sit back to back in case they circle around us.
Yeah. I was just thinking. Wish I had me a drink of red-eye right now. I know a place in Dodge. I tell you, Kendall, a shot of that tornado juice would draw a blood blister on a rawhide boot.
I'd like to see that.
Shucks, that ain't nothing. Feller what runs the saloon. He serves a free snake with every drink. That ain't what you think. It ain't no woman, that's an Indian. I know, I heard him before. They want us to think it's her.
Are you sure?
I'll show you. Hey, you crow-bait dogs! Which one of you's a squaw? See what I mean?
Yes. One thing I don't understand.
What's that?
Why do they stay here? Why not ride off with the woman?
I figure there's 2 reasons. First, Little Knife's probably left the reservation. He ain't got no particular place to go. Second, they want our guns. Indian will do a lot of fool things to get hold of a gun. Come to think of it, there's something else.
Oh?
Yeah. Maybe they're low on bullets. You reckon?
Yeah. It's quite possible. That's why they haven't attacked.
Sure, they're using sharps repeaters. That feller's Winchester ain't the same caliber. So whatever shells they picked up in the wagon ain't worth a thing.
In which case, we don't wait for them to attack us.
I know what you're getting at, but it won't work.
Well, why not?
That wouldn't be no good. Not with his busted wing.
Slim, you stay here. Cover me with the rifle.
No, he'll hear you before you get 10 feet up the rise.
Slim, I'll admit that I'm a comparative greenhorn in your territory, but I've had the dubious pleasure of slitting a number of throats under similar circumstances in India. Those chaps didn't hear me. I'll take my chances with these Arapaho.
Well, you going to use a knife?
Oh, if I have to, yes.
You sure are a funny kind of Englishman.
Here, take your rifle.
Mister, I sure hope you know what you're doing.
So do I. I crawled out of the hollow and inched my way up the slope. I had seen the flash of the Indian's rifle and knew his approximate location. In the direction I was taking, I planned to reach the top of the hill some yards from where I had last seen him. It was slow. Then, as I raised my head over the summit, I saw the great orange glow of the rising moon, and silhouetted against it, the crouching form of an Indian, half turned from me, behind a boulder. I drew out my knife. He died without a sound. Then I made out Little Knife and the remaining Indian. They were a few feet away, standing over a gagged and bound body. And in the constantly growing moonlight, I saw the chief bend down, the glitter of steel in his hand. This time I knew it would be a woman's scream I was going to hear.
Little Knife!
Kendall!
It's all right, Slim. She's alive.
She's all right. I cut the ropes, loosened the gag from the woman's mouth, and for a long moment she only looked at me. Then she began to cry. I carried her down the slope to where Slim was waiting. Then I went back to get the Indian horses and the things which had belonged to Belding and his wife. After that, Slim and I took her to Laramie in Wyoming Territory.
Frontier Gentleman was written, produced, and directed by Anthony Ellis and stars John Daner as J.B. Kendall. Featured in the cast were Jack Moyles as Slim and Lawrence Dobkin as Little Knife. Join us again next week for another report from The Frontier Gentleman. Dan Coverly speaking.
Today, hear Jack Benny on the CBS Radio Network.